Hey, what's up? I got sent this. There's a new Mark of the Wolves. I totally forgot this was a thing, so I got asked what is my opinion on it. Obviously, there's not a lot of footage to actually go on, but to start this off with, I will say I've said before, when you think about the idea of Street Fighter 2, or I guess even Street Fighter Alpha to Street Fighter 3, and if you were to think about something like Fatal Fury to Mark of the Wolves, I've always said that I actually think Mark of the Wolves is better than Street Fighter 3. I think it's a better reinvention, quotation marks, if you can even call it, of Fatal Fury. It's just a more interesting game. I don't think Street Fighter 3 is anything special. I know it's one of those games that, again, no one give a fuck about Street Fighter 3. You couldn't, people will pretend that Street Fighter 3 was popular when it came out. Guess what? In my arcade, like when I went to the arcade, this is going to hurt people's feelings. People would rather play Street Fighter Alpha 1 than Street Fighter 3. People would rather play Street Fighter EX than Street Fighter 3. No one gave a fuck about Street Fighter 3. Okay? But anyway. Yeah, but Mark of the Wolves, I've always thought Mark of the Wolves is a much more interesting game. Mark of the Wolves is you know, it does feel a little clunky and slow sometimes. Like I know I've made the joke before. I've never played a game that feels so slow and clunky at times, but I sometimes miss the punish for a move, which I guess is maybe, you know what I mean? It's kind of funny when you think about it. And there's something weird about it that sometimes it feels like you should throw the guy and you don't throw the guy, or maybe it's like vice versa. I probably haven't played the game in 10 years, if that, who even knows, right? But overall, I've always thought Mark of the Wolves is much more interesting than Street Fighter 3. But anyway, of course, one of the problems is when I think of a King of Fighters game, or a SNK game, I think it's shit like this that I see people post as being awesome.
One target on his back. The funny part was he was probably in the room while they were doing it. Yeah, it's entirely possible. Wow. Oh, he got the corner too. Oh, I think level two's coming. Yeah, baby. Is he gonna get half a bar? Yes, he is. Oh, this is it. That's a dead Isla. Oh no, maybe not. I'm alive.
When I just see SNK is such a fucking joke now with all these games. Everything just juggles. What does this move do? It juggles. What does this move do? It juggles. You know what I mean? So that's what I feel like. I really do not want a fucking another King of Fighter game where everything, or SNK game where everything just juggles. That's what it does. Okay, and I'm fucking over it, right? But to try to make this a little bit more interesting, again, because there's not a lot to go on the system or whatever. If someone was like giving me this game and just looking at the meter that they showed, and first of all, I see that they have like EX moves, it looks like, which I fucking goddamn hate EX moves. I've already said that many times before. And I don't know, is Rev Guard now what just defending used to be? So I don't know if that's the new phrase or if there's actually a thing Rev Guard now or something that's different than just defending. But just to try to make this interesting from like a sort of like theoretical sort of standpoint or a game design standpoint, because it looks like you can cancel special moves into special moves or something. Although it also looked like Rock did a run and then he canceled it into a low. So maybe that's not, or maybe that's his EX run. He can cancel into a low, not just teleport behind you. But I can say from like a game theory perspective, if we're thinking about Street Fighter compared to something like Street Fighter 6 of like canceling our normals into something else and automatically dashing in, compared to canceling a special move into another special move, or maybe you can special move into top, you know what I mean? Maybe that counts as top into special move, or special move into top into special move, whatever. I would say that that is infinitely better than the drive system of Street Fighter 6 where you just do normal into, dash and whatever. Because guess what? Street Fighter 6 is so homogenized with the normals, generally speaking, that it's homogenization. It's not interesting. At least if there's a system of special move into another special moves are inherently, quotation marks, special to the character. Not all characters share the same special move. You know what I mean? Whereas in Street Fighter 6, guess what? How many normals are almost exactly the same across the board? I know some characters, yes, some characters have different normals. I know. But they generally have the same feel to them, right? There's way too much homogenization of normals in Street Fighter 6. It's obvious, it's ridiculous. So characters end up using the system in the same way because characters are all so dull. So at least if it's a special move into a special move, it's inherently special to the character, let's say. You know what I mean? But I digress. But again, I guess the meat and bones of this, although that was longer than whatever. If I were to look at this system and someone was like, Clayton, I want to make a SNK, I want to make a new Mark of the Wolves game, and we want to do something cute because there's motorcycles. An engine. There should be a cat here. Where's my cat? Meow. Should have brought Sister Luna. She's an engine. So if we want to bring our little portable engine, if we want to make a game with a rev engine off a motorcycle, because they all ride motorcycles, whatever. I would say when I'm thinking about revving the engine, and I think of something like Mark of the Wolves. So we have this meter, this super down here, and hopefully this is what I've said before, and I said it's one of the only good things if you think about Street Fighter 6, is keeping versatile options a separate meter while keeping supers a separate meter. And I've said that before, and that's something that I've even thought about if I were going to make a game that I would do. And that's why I said that's something good that Street Fighter 6 did. So maybe, again, I don't know much, or maybe they actually have explained the system, but maybe Mark of the Wolves has who knows, maybe this is your regular super, and then for 2 supers, and if you use both of it, you do your HDM or whatever it's called. It's called like super move and hidden super move. Is that what it's called? They call it in SNK games. So maybe you can either do 2 level 1s or for 2 meters, you do a level 2, right? And then the rev engine, what would this be? Well, maybe the rev engine is something like, it starts off at 0. And let's say, unlike a super meter, which, once you're building your meter, it never goes down. But this revving engine is a meter that is static, or we're not static. Where's my English? Whatever. It's a meter that when you're building it up, if you're not using it, it's slowly trickling down, right? So how would we rev up this engine? Well, Mark of the Wolves has just defending. So maybe you rev up the engine, this revving up meter or whatever, by doing stuff like just defending, like boom, 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 boom. And so the meter go boop, boop, tap, 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 start to fill up and then slowly start to build down when you're not using it. King of Fighters also has, or again, Mark of the Wolves also has this like break system, is it they call it, you know what I mean? Where I just remember the one Kim guy, he can cancel his dragon punch, right? His flip kick, right? Maybe when you do break attacks, you're like revving the engine each time you do that, right? And so because this meter is not consistent, you know what I mean? You're constantly kind of encouraged to always be doing break attacks, or maybe your top attack fills it or something like that. Or maybe also just your special moves fill it up. But unlike, say, your super meter, which fills up with also, just say regular being a hit, it also fills up while you're being attacked, you know what I mean? It fills up both ways, right? Revving the engine only fills up when you are being the aggressor, when you are doing stuff like break attacks or something like that. Or the only caveat, or if you're doing like a just defend, right? Otherwise, just regularly blocking would not build up like a super meter, right? And so this would encourage you, obviously, because the meter also will be going down if you're not using it, to be aggressive, right? You don't want to zone, because if you're zoning, you're not building up your revving meter, right? You want to be doing your break attacks, whatever, right? And then from this revving the engine up, depending on how much you have, maybe that is where your rev attack, what did they call it? I should have took a picture of it. Your rev attack is your EX move, right? Oh, maybe for, 25% meter, you do your EX move version of it, right? Or did they call it like a rev excel? Whatever. I only watched the trailer once, sorry. A rev excel or a rev cancel, what the fuck it called? That's you can cancel a special move into the top attack, or a special move into another special move, or a special into a top attack, whatever it is, vice versa. And that's also 25% meter or something like that. Boom, boom. If you're to cancel it into an EX attack, that takes 50% of your meter or something like that, right? But of course you have to, see how much rev engine you have. But that's, to me, if I was looking at this and someone gave me the board meeting of Clayton, design a game with a sort of revving of the engine of a motorcycle. But you got to put in EX moves, and you got to put in some kind of special cancel move, whatever, and it's got to be something like Mark of the Wolves. That's what I would do. If that's what someone was like, Clayton, make a game for me. And who knows, maybe it is. Maybe I just totally guessed the game. I don't know. But that's what I would do. So again, revving the engine, I'm thinking about so you like build it up. Revving your rev meter builds up with break attacks because you want to keep canceling your attacks like that, right? Builds up with special moves, whatever. It builds up with attacking the guy. And the one defensive thing is if you're just defending, you know what I mean? Like tap, because it's like revving the engine of something, it builds up. But the rev engine thing, of course, again, it's not a consistent meter when you're not using it. It's going to be slowly trickling down. So you're encouraged to constantly be attacking. Whereas the special move meter for the supers, this builds up no matter what you're doing, right? And it never goes away, of course, right? There you go. That's my theory of if I was to be making the game and I was told you have to do something with the car engine with little cat here. Oh, I should have made her. She wears the shark hijab, right? I have a cat that wears a shark hijab. Mashallah, Ramadan. Oh, she is big iblis. Awaid bi alamina satana regime. If you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. The end.